there will be a new mayor here in the city of Plattsburgh, taking office in just a couple of weeks. Wendell Hughes, who has served as a county legislator, is the mayor-elect for the city of Plattsburgh, who will be sworn in and take office the first week in January. He sat down with us this week to talk about his new job. And Mayor-elect Wendell Hughes joins us now. Welcome. It's nice to see you.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate you having me.
We're just a couple of weeks away from you being sworn in and taking over as mayor of the city of Plattsburgh. Tell us some of the things you're doing right now, the people you're meeting with in advance of taking office, and what you're doing to get ready to take over on the first.
Well, meeting with all the department heads, which is, I think, the most important thing I can do right now. And we're going over the budget. You know, each department, we're going to go over the line-by-line budget and make sure we're where we need to be with the budget, and what their vision is for the next 4 years, and what my visions are, what my expectations are. And, you know, it's been going really well.
You didn't get to work on this budget.
No.
This is a budget that's been presented
Right.
to you.
Correct.
The council has looked it over. There have been a couple of meetings on it, and
They're doing some changes as we speak. Some of the stuff the council wants, and some of, you know, so we'll see where the final budget lies. And but the big thing is for me is getting acquainted with the department heads on it, you know, so we have that rapport.
I know that there have been previous mayors and previous administrations that were, when it came to department heads, only they dealt with department heads and the city council members couldn't.
Well, I want to go back to doing a liaison type with the council, having each one assigned to maybe a different department. So we have more communication between the council and the department heads. It's not going to require more meetings. It's just going to be, listen, this is your voice, and if there's something they can work out together, that'd be great. And I think as far as the relationship goes, I just want to have that open door policy where if they have a problem, I want them to feel comfortable coming to me and saying, listen, this is what we have, and we can work together on that solution.
The budget that the council's working with right now spends less expenditures for the year?
The tax levy stayed the same. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pretty hard to do in today's world, and this one actually stayed the same. Whether it stays that way or not, I'm not sure. We'll see. You know, again, there's a lot of bartering going on right now. There's some jobs that were proposed that they don't like, and there's some that, you know, they're going back and forth right now, so we'll see where it ends.
What in it do you like and not like in the proposed budget?
Well, the tax rate is amazing, right? I mean, the tax rate's really good. There's a couple things that I mean, some of the departments, I don't know if they're funded well enough, and that's something we're going to have to take on January 1st. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
For you, that was a big thing during
Huge.
the campaign.
Huge.
You would like to bring back the recreation department at some point?
At some level, yeah. We need to reinvent recreation in the city, and I've been working a lot with, I've had meetings with the town. I'm going to be meeting with YMCA. I'm going to be meeting with, I had a great visit with the Youth Bureau the other day. A lot of players, a lot of the coaches. I've met with a lot of the coaches around town, and they're great. I mean, they're so dedicated to the kids, and it's so much. It's really good to talk to them because they're the ones. They're the guys and ladies on the street, right? They know where we need to go, and they really good information coming back from them.
You had talked during the campaign about maybe beefing up recreation in the city, maybe hiring a few people every few years to try to build back the department. You also mentioned you're talking with the town about trying to collaborate with the town on recreation. Is that something you'd like to move ahead with?
Without a doubt. I mean, one Plattsburgh, as far as recreation go, I think is where I would love to be at. You know, the one Plattsburgh where, you know, we're just going to have one big rec program. I think that would be the best for, you know, and I think cost-wise, I think it's the best for both of us too, where we both share that cost.
The town is looking at the possibility of an indoor sports arena, part of the DRI that they submitted to the state, waiting to hear if they will get that. But is that something that you would work with the town on? If the town is already proposing an indoor sports arena, would you let the town move ahead with that?
I had a really good conversation with Steve Peters the other day. I called Steve about a couple things, and Steve's another guy that's really involved in recreation for the kids around there in our area. So he's a great he's a great point of contact for anything with recreation with the kids. And I think that I'm really excited about getting something indoor. And with the impending unfortunate closure of Clayton Community, maybe we can utilize that gym for a little while too until we figure out, where we end up.
As far as an indoor sports arena, whether it's the town, whether it's the Y, that's something you think everybody ought to collaborate on together. It ought to
Without
be
a doubt.
a regional indoor facility.
And it'd be awesome to have some of the tournaments here in Plattsburgh, and having some of these folks come in. You talk to some of the parents that go to some of the other towns where they have all these people coming to these towns and they're spending money in those towns, and that would be awesome for Plattsburgh. I mean, we have hotels, we have restaurants, we have our downtown, introduce our downtown. And then these people come back they come back for vacation in the summer. And then, that's where you start that effect,
A lot of people were unhappy when the crate was torn down. Do you think that was a mistake for the city to do that?
At this point, it doesn't matter what I think. And I'm never a fan of taking something down. We don't have a plan to moving forward. But now we are at a point where we have to move forward. We can keep delving on the past listen, I want to be more positive. And we have a beautiful beach out there. And one of the nice things is, the only bonus is, when you drive by there now, you can see the beach. And that is pretty nice. You see the beautiful lake out there. And that's another thing we have to really look at in the next 4 years is, where are we going to be with the beach?
Such a prime piece.
It is so
of real
beautiful.
Estate. Any more thoughts since the election about what you may want to do with that or look into doing with that?
Well, since the election, we've been, I've had, I went from pneumonia to food poisoning so I've had a rough run with a few things, but now we're getting better, and now, I want to get into the vault in the city and see these plans. The plans that have been, for years, we have done these feasibility studies and all these things, and I want to put these all together, and I want to look and see. And maybe there's something we missed through the years or something, but it's so beautiful out there. We need to be able to share that with other people, and I think, bringing people in, and I've sat with the chamber with Mr. Douglas quite a few times, and that's another relationship I have to, that's very important, is keeping the chamber involved in these things. And I'm really excited. I think we, there's a lot of things that have happened in the last few years that have, we really need to carry forward. Some of the parks, some of the work in the parks we've done, we got to keep that going.
And the current mayor, Chris Rosenquist, has done quite a bit. That's been a big focus of his.
Yeah.
The parks, beefing up the parks, enhancing the parks. Is that something that you applaud, and is that something you want to continue to do?
Without a doubt, but we have to keep it within pricing too. The more we can do with grants and state funds and other people's funds would be better. But we do have to. Some of our parks, you go through these parks like the West End Park was. When I was a kid, they had the same, Peter Blumet Park, I should say now, yeah. But they have the same,
some of the same equipment
that
they
equipment
did.
than when I was a kid, And listen, it's a beautiful park. But we do have to update some of these.
You mentioned though there are some concerns about overspending on
without a doubt.
Within the past few months, there's been concerns raised about the cost of renovating and improving some of the bathrooms at a couple of the parks that, in particular, people thought some of those costs were pretty high.
Yeah, there were quite a few there. Maybe we can downsize these plans and get a usable bathroom. We don't need to have it extravagant. As long as it's usable, right? I think that's the most important part.
City Council. Obviously, the outgoing mayor has had a very contentious relationship with the City Council. Are you hopeful that you'll have a much better relationship?
Well, you always have to be hopeful. But no, I think I do. I've spoke to them on a number of occasions, each of them, individually, and we're trying to get our visions together. And, I think transparency is going to be really important, and keeping them involved and making them feel like they have the information and that they can reach out somewhere to get that information. I think that's really important.
Has that been one of the biggest complaints for them, the city councilors, that there hasn't been enough transparency?
They have complained a lot about not having certain information, and I'm going to make sure that information is available for them. So I don't want to have that complaint moving forward. They should have more information than they need.
a new face on the council, but many of the members are the same, and so you're moving ahead with them. They do have experience already. As you meet with the council, as you begin the first month of being mayor, what are your priorities? What do you want to tackle first?
Boy, there's so many things there are so many things. But first and foremost, I think we have to finish the budget process. We can find out where we are, and then
that's due on January 15th.
Yep, and then the police chief is always still huge. I mean, we got to get into we have to find somebody to be our police chief. I don't want to understate that because I think that's huge going forward. Walking during the campaign, a lot of people talked about public safety, whether it's speeding or, we've had a couple murders, we've had our share of stuff, and we just want to make sure people feel safe in our community. And that is so important. Especially, that's one of the bigger building blocks. And then infrastructure is the next thing. We really have to start picking away at these infrastructure projects. We just saw down near Ticonderoga, their water system crashed. And we don't ever want to be in that situation. Not that we would be either. I'm not implying that we would be. I'm just saying.
No, but in Whitehall, they're facing that. Communities all across the state are facing it because their infrastructure is getting old and it needs to be replaced. The city has been making steps toward replacing. Obviously, the Margaret Street project dealt with a lot of infrastructure. What are some of the other priorities now as far as infrastructure?
Well, bringing the water into the city. The dam, and right now we're looking at I think we have 2 wells right now as well. So getting the water to the city is huge. Having water and sewer is. That's a foundation of every city, right? Without clean water and a place for our sewer to go, we're in trouble. So just maintaining those lines and going through and prioritizing each and see how old each of these sections are, and then looking for grant opportunities. And I talked to the grant writers for the city the other day, and we shared what we were looking at, and it was really a really great conversation, and hopefully we find some money.